Today's episode of Inside Gaming Daily is sponsored by Drop and the Sennheiser PC37X headset. You can get $20 off at the link in the description.
Hey everyone, welcome to Inside Gaming for Monday!
That's right, it's Monday. You gotta clap a little bit. Censorship has been a big topic of discussion in video games these days.
Yeah, on one side we have Valve, who said last year that they were going to relax their policies on what's allowed on Steam.
As they famously put it, they'll publish anything that isn't illegal or trolling.
Meanwhile, Sony is going the other way, reportedly toning down adult content on the PS4.
No! Lawrence, how do you feel about that?
You can get your anime ladies anywhere.
You can go on the internet.
We go to the PS4 for sad
There's
dads.
porn in browsers for free if you want it.
There's so many other ways for me to look at boobs. I don't need to do it specifically through the PlayStation.
Well, Sony's actually toning down only sexual content.
Yeah.
Graphic violence, totally fine.
Oh god no, that's a whole other kink.
Last of Us has to be about something.
But now we have an all-new entrant in the censorship sweepstakes. That's right, it's Nintendo! Famous for its kid-friendly content, Nintendo has its own opinions about what should be allowed in games.
No more Mario nipples, Lawrence?
God, I needed those nipples. Those were so great.
Yeah.
Those little brown guys.
Yeah.
We waited years to see what's under that shirt.
Yeah.
Nobody expected this, but Nintendo's somehow come out against censorship in third-party games.
Cool.
Said they won't step in to modify any questionable content at all.
Good for them.
So while we've seen Mario's upstairs, get ready for what's down below.
Oh god, I've never wanted to see his pubic hair less.
It's gonna be all like gnarled and kinked and
That's me super curly and greasy, but...
I don't use a comb! Why does it sound like Mickey? What they're really talking about here is third-party games.
Oh, got it, not Mario.
In a recent meeting with shareholders, Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa was asked about Sony's newfound regulation of sexual content.
And he was asked if Nintendo would do the same. What was his response, Lawrence?
oh, he dropped a bomb on him. He said, no.
Really?
Boobs are safe here. Furukawa said that Nintendo would rely on rating agencies to handle that. And he added that parents can use the parental controls on Switch to filter what their kids see.
He's right.
Awesome. Yeah, Furukawa wasn't even done though. Seems like he was actually taking a bit of a dig at Sony, saying that, quote, if platform holding companies choose arbitrarily, the diversity and fairness in game software would be significantly inhibited.
Boom! Two Japanese companies fighting each
They're
other.
outselling us, but we got titties.
That statement is quite an about-face from the days of the original NES, when Nintendo was a lot more heavy-handed about what kind of content would appear on the consoles.
Yeah, but these days Nintendo's changed its tune when it comes to third-party developers.
Yeah, ever since the Switch launched over 2 years ago, Nintendo has been rolling out the red carpet for indie devs.
Yeah, Nigel Lowry, the co-founder of indie publisher Devolver Digital, said that Nintendo started reaching out aggressively when the Switch released.
Buy a girl a drink first. He had a quote, to this day, they are pretty active in checking in to see what we have coming and working to promote our games side by side with their games, which is impressive to see.
Nintendo added the Nindies showcase. Oh my gosh, I want to kill myself.
I love it. I love it so much.
Bad word.
They added that in 2017 to show off upcoming indies, and they heavily promoted games like Overcooked and the indie platform Grizz, or Grease? It's French, yeah. Even though it released around the same time as a huge Nintendo IP, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Wow, that's good, right? For you
interesting.
especially, Lawrence, like you love the indie scene.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I hope the Switch would be. That perfect sort of middle platform, all those cutesy little titles that come out on Steam and no one pays attention to.
We call it trash, but
Yeah, middling
Bunch of
trash.
games I'm never gonna buy, yeah.
And some of them are so indie and heartfelt that they have titties in them. Because that's what real adult entertainment is.
Do you go to the Louvre and look at a painting of some breasts and go, how dare they? They should cover it with black bars.
No, you never say that.
No.
You instead jerk off in the Louvre, right there, pull down your pants and just give it a whirl. That's what art's for.
Lowry from Devolver Digital said that Nintendo has, quote, taken a strong approach on pushing games regardless of scope or scale, as long as they're of high quality.
Cool.
Which means they got damn titties.
Well, I mean, not always.
That's what that means. You know, it's good business for Nintendo. This is something they've been struggling with for a long time, making anyone that isn't Nintendo happy to be on their platforms.
That's right.
Yeah, the Switch basically needs those indie games to help fill out its roster, considering that the underpowered Switch doesn't really get a lot of multi-platform games that are on the PS4 and the Xbox.
Yeah, but it's helped out indie devs too, because Switch owners buy a lot of games. At a survey at GDC last year, 76% of developers said their games sell better on the Switch than other consoles. That's unbelievable.
It's crazy, but it makes some sense considering the Switch's portable nature compared to traditional consoles that you play on TV. Remember that old Sega commercial? Where that kid, he had his TV, this old man has like a plug going, and he's like, I'm gonna play my Genesis on the plane. And the kid's like, I got Game Gear. Game Gear sucked.
Game Gear was awesome.
But now we're like actually living in that where
Yeah,
it's like,
it's real.
you have a console in your hands. It's got a 3.5 hour battery, but like.
And that's kind of where I'm at. And if I'm gonna buy a $15 indie game, why would I buy it on PC when I can buy it on Switch and have the opportunity to take it anywhere?
Play it
$15
anywhere.
is more valuable on Switch. So yeah, interesting. It looks like Sony isn't very excited about indies these days. They've kind of gone the other way multiple times,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the PlayStation 5. The Wall Street Journal just reported that Sony plans to focus on hardcore gamers.
Oh, that's us.
Except no titties. So how hardcore can it be?
You're like a monk. You gotta just hold it all in and
Yeah, I
be,
guess so.
I am a woman who kills robot dinosaurs, and I am a father.
I want to be a lesbian.
Sony officials said that going forward, Sony will focus less on showing off indie games and more on, quote, high-end offerings.
lesbian.
Not this high-end, though.
Sony officials said that people buy consoles to, quote, play high-quality games available only on that platform compared to smaller games.
Indeed. As for censorship issues, it's been reported that Sony enacted some new guidelines regarding sex and nudity out of concerns that they might hurt its reputation globally.
Sony reportedly pressured the developers of the mature visual novel Nora to Ojo. Is
I'm so glad you have to say this.
What is that?
Yeah.
And no, you're not done with the title.
Oh, I'm
Keep
sorry, the
going.
whole name. Nora to Oju
Keep going.
to
Norneko, yeah.
Norneko Heart.
Yeah, you got it.
That's okay, anyway. They're gonna censor some of its scenes with light beams on PS4.
Oh, come on!
Yeah.
I want to see those lesbians make out!
And another dev, D3 publisher, made a completely censored version of Omega Labyrinth Life to get in line with Sony's policies. Wow.
Mega Labyrinth rules. You have a whole roster full of ladies, and as you level up, your titties get bigger.
We played that.
There's like a tit
That sounds
meter.
awesome. Company officials said that Sony was concerned the company could become a target of legal and social action.
People might get mad at us on Twitter.
That's exactly right.
But what about our hero Nintendo, Lawrence? They seem to be saving the day.
They're defending everything that's right in this world. They said months ago they were fine with sexually explicit games on the Switch as long as they have a rating from a group like the ESRB.
Hey.
And judging by Furukawa's comments, they're standing by that position. It's the system working as intended.
Yeah.
I guess Sony's just trying to play it safe, which is weird because like they're fine with lesbians kissing, but anime girls, no, you get out of here.
Well, that's because they show the nipples. Once you show nipples, that's it. We're
Right.
done.
Once the nipple's out, it never goes back in.
And we don't know what they look like, so when you see them, it blows your mind.
Nipples don't exist.
Not in my world.
According to Nintendo, he's got those little brown discs, and that's it.
And not that really. Wow.
Bruce, you're gonna get us demonetized.
Sony filter. Not that Sony really actually cares about any of this. According to recent reports, Sony doesn't see the Switch as a threat because it feels that Nintendo appeals more to a younger audience.
That's ironic considering that the Switch is much cooler about adult games, so not at all for younger audiences, much older audience.
strange. Yeah. The journal also reported that Sony doesn't see Google Stadia as a real threat either.
Wow.
But it could be once internet technology is more
Man,
advanced.
Sony's so big and bloated, they don't care anymore.
They're going back to the old PS2 into the PS3 days where they're like, no one can hit us.
Yeah.
This next console costs $800. What are you gonna do? It's got a giant end.
You're gonna buy it. Instead, Sony sees Microsoft and Xbox as the real competition, and then it's hoping that the new PlayStation's features like ray tracing and 8K support will set it apart.
But what about Microsoft? I mean, they're still in it, right?
They're slugging it out in that fight too. Their new Scarlet console, their next console, also includes 8K support, ray tracing, all the bells and whistles that we don't even know what they look like yet. So yet again, seems like Sony and Microsoft are duking it out for the tech crown, while Nintendo's just quietly putting out its, middleware titty games over there. They're making their money. Nintendo's always good at carving out their own market. Seems like they're doing that again. So yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Seems that way. Yeah.
Instead of Waggle, now we have Waggle.
I would have never imagined that I was going to get actual boobs with nipples on a Nintendo system, to be honest with you. And I'm actually very pleased that they're doing
For
that.
something that's kind of meant to be played in public too.
And they were playing massaging that girl.
Yeah,
Can
watch
you
me
hold
slap
this
this girl's
other
thighs.
controller
She likes this. No, she doesn't. Well, it's hard to tell sometimes in these games. You're just smacking it.
Oh
Smacking
boy,
it.
oh boy. I don't know if you should ever say that phrase again about women. Go ahead.
Anyway, Sony's strategy does seem to be a little strange though, because high-end AAA games take a while to make. Even if you have a bunch of studios working on them, like Sony does, that still leaves some long periods of time with nothing new to play.
Like right now for them. And for the last few generations, indie games have helped fill in those gaps.
Good wording.
And multi-platforms and things like that.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
Sony has clearly decided from its generation that what it does best are big budget exclusives like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted 4, and the upcoming Last of Us 2.
Yeah, and there's no question that they've helped make the PlayStation 4 the best-selling console this generation. But again, what do you play in the meantime, Lawrence?
His hands, they're just I feel the devil coming into him.
Nintendo's obviously doing a pretty good job about getting a stacked release calendar. There's a ton of stuff that comes out on the Switch, so there's always something to look at. I feel like Microsoft is kind of taking a different approach where they're buying developers up and down the chain. They're buying small groups and huge groups, so they have a whole roster of games to come out. Sony does seem to be betting big on the huge cinematic games. I can only assume that's because they have the sales data, and every time they release something like Spider-Man,
Well, they
they
sell
get
a
a
bunch of
million more
systems.
PlayStations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see if this strategy pays off for Sony in the upcoming generation. In the meantime, if you're a console player who loves boobs, Switch is probably your best bet. I mean, PC above all.
PC, of
but-
course, because you can get porn for free at any time,
Amen.
like I said before.
Yeah, but I mean, in a video game version, you have to earn it. That's at least how I'm trying to understand the brain of these people who play these games, Lawrence.
I mean, these people.
Like we said, though, this anti-censorship position is a relatively new phenomenon for Nintendo, especially for us who've followed the company for decades.
Yeah, back when Earthbound released for the Super Nintendo, there was a section in the Japanese version, aka Mother 2, that had the lead character naked.
Oh no!
Little boy! Nintendo demanded that the nudity be covered up in the American version. Then again, how could you tell?
Tiny little
Super
thumb wing
Yeah.
wang.
To be honest with you, if I saw nudity on a Super Nintendo, I would have immediately pulled down my pants,
Okay.
done my business,
Okay.
because I was like, 13, I want to to say?
Sure.
Like, oh my gosh, a naked woman.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw some tree bark that looked anything like a...
You could still do that. You can pull down my pants
yeah.
and do my bit.
You play Street Fighter 2 and you pause at the right frame.
I would do that.
Oh, I absolutely, yeah, pause while Chun-Li's doing a front flip.
It's the best you got. You know, we didn't have the internet back then. It was
The internet changed everything.
Yeah. Even the original Mario Kart showed Bowser and Peach celebrate by drinking champagne if they won. In the North American version, though, and European version, they didn't drink out of the bottles.
Scandalous.
I mean,
So they instead had to drink out of a flute,
I think they just held the bottle.
I went back and I was playing Twin Snakes, Metal Gear Solid. It blows my mind that one of the items you have is you have to smoke. It works in the context of the game, but I'm like, this would not fly today. It's kind of crazy. Like, he's a badass that smokes.
It lowers your life.
Snake, you didn't die of fox die. You died of cancer.
Either way, be careful out there when you're playing that massage game on your Switch.
Yeah.
You don't want anybody to see that.
Lawrence is right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You'll attract people like me, and you don't want that. Today's episode of Inside Gaming Daily is sponsored by Drop, formerly Mass Drop, and the Sennheiser PC37X headset. I've been using this for a while, and it's got some features that I really like. First of all, it's an open back headset, which actually means that a lot of sound travels through. Bizarrely, I'm in a lot of situations where I want to hear what's going on in the room around me in addition to the game. This is actually a pretty cool thing that almost like layers the sound so you can still hear stuff outside in addition to all the audio that's coming in. On top of that, and this is something I really like, it's got an analog volume dial on the headset itself. So that's no like rocker switch, it's just a little dial that goes from max to min right there. So it's really nice to be able to control that since I use it as like a pass-through from a monitor. So I have to use the stupid little buttons to control volume through that. This way I can just dial it up and down. Very, very handy. And it has a retractable mic, which is really nice. So it's become my new sort of like hard multiplayer gaming headset. I appreciate that. So if you want to check it out, you can do that at the link in the description. It's a bit of a mouthful. dro.ps/insidegaming-PC37X-2 for $20 off the Sennheiser Cross Mass Drop PC37X headset. Once more, that's link in the description for $20 off the PC37X. Thank you for the sponsorship Drop, and thank you for the cool headphones. Mode. It's a dressing room where you can summon two disembodied hands to yank on a girl's little jiggly bits. They really enjoy that.
Of-age girl?
Yes, always mostly of age, yes.
Oh my gosh. Nekapara Volume 1 released on Switch last summer with a rating of mature 17+, but in the PS4 version, fans noticed changes like